Hello, my name is Joshua Keith, and this is theburningcoal.com, a website dedicated to God's glory, His grace, and our response to it. We're going to be having another Monday motivation, and then this one we're going to be talking about restoring another person. Paul talks about this at the end of Galatians chapter 6 when he's giving an exhortation to the people. He says, "Brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted." This is an important exhortation that Paul gives because it helps us to see that we know God created the church for a reason. And that reason is that it's very hard to go it alone. It's very hard to be by yourself. We need the encouragement of other people. And so Paul is putting it on the Christians there at the church of Galatia, and in the same manner, us as well, that we need to be looking out for one another and looking for a way to restore other people. So what can we do this week to have this type of mindset? Well, first, we need to think about who might need help. And let's just be honest with ourselves here. There's a lot of times where we go to services and everything may look fine. It's kind of like our Facebook posts. We show the positive things and not the things that are difficult. But the fact of the matter is that all of us really need encouragement most of the time, but at least one time or another. So pick somebody in your congregation. Maybe there's something that's standing out to you that seems like it's going to be a problem, but that doesn't have to be the case. It could be people who you think are doing just fine, but maybe they could still use some encouragement. Think about who you might need to help. And then we should pray for them daily. We should have them as a part of our daily prayers. First of all, this is helpful because it entreats the Most High God to give them encouragement and strength in the battle that they're facing. And so we should be praying for one another. And of course, a lot of times we want to pray for people who are sick and struggling physically. And that's very important because we know that God has great power. But if that's the case, then how much more so then should we be praying for people who are struggling spiritually? And that they may have the encouragement that they need to overcome whatever it is that they're fighting. And then on top of that, we should reach out and encourage those people. Again, one or two people that we see in our congregation that we think it would be good for us to reach out to. Let's take the time and send them a text, write them an email, give them a call. Find out what's going on with them and see if there's anything in particular that they need. A lot of times we don't know what's going on with other people because we're just not present. We don't have a relationship with them, so why in the world would they want to share their most difficult struggles to people who they don't really talk to? And so it's good for us to reach out and encourage them, and maybe it leads to something where we have a very specific conversation that's encouraging. But even if it doesn't, just building that relationship, encouraging them, letting them know that someone is praying for them and thinking about them is really powerful. And then the final thing that we should do is examine ourselves as well. Sometimes we may be hesitant to reach out to other people because when we think about what's going on in our own lives, we see way too much sin, way too much difficulty to feel comfortable saying, "Hey, how are you doing? How can I help you spiritually?" Because we find our own spiritual weakness to be something that inhibits us. The idea, I think, of what Paul is saying here is not that this should be an excuse to keep us from reaching out to others, but instead, reaching out to others should motivate us to change the things that would keep us from being an encouragement. If we have things that are actively in our life that's going to discourage others, either through our example or because we're unwilling to encourage them because we have this in our lives, then we need to remove it. So this week, let's focus on seeing who it is that we can help. Again, I challenge you to look at one or two people and see if there is a way that you can help them. I hope that this lesson blesses you in your walk in His kingdom.